You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the creator of The Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family. Today we're going to talk about what we wear and what that says about us. I'll share with you some tips that you can use to better understand people and their intent by the clothing that they wear. All of that and more ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. The next time you go to thesecuredad.com, grab yourself some Protector Parent gear. The Secure Dad has hats, shirts, hoodies, drinkware, and more to help you show your pride in being a protector parent. Find designs for moms, dads, and kids, and when you wear these clothes, they say about you that you value your family and their security. To get started, go to thesecuredad.com and click on Store. I'm always looking for ways to make the Secure Dad better for everybody, and to do that, I need your help. In the show notes for this episode is a link to a quick survey that you can use to help me shape the future of the show. Your voice is very important to me. After all, I do this every day to help parents like you live a safer, happier life. I would appreciate your time and feedback. Just click on the link in today's show notes. Over the past few months, we've been talking about the importance of nonverbal communication. And I wanted to talk to you again about that today as it pertains to our clothing. How we dress says a lot about how we want to be treated. It tells people what we think about ourselves and how we want to be perceived. We attract the attention that we want by the clothes that we choose to wear. Your chosen clothing is something that everybody sees. The t-shirt that you put on, the shorts that you wear, or the dress that you put on broadcast how you want to be treated and speaks to your intention. And here's an example for you. If I go to an interview for a job at an attorney's office and I show up in a three-piece suit, then I understand the assignment. My intent is to get the job. When I walk in, I will non-verbally communicate with all the people in that room that I understand what the job is, I understand the culture, and I understand the prestige. It is a way to instantly let people know that I get what's going on and that I'm at your level. You can treat me with a confidence and respect because my clothing demands that you do that. Now, if I walk into the same job interview with flip-flops and a Jurassic Park t-shirt, I'm not going to be given the same amount of respect. This happens because my chosen clothing says that my intention is that this meeting is not important enough for my time. It's not important enough for me to dress up for. So in this scenario, I should absolutely be wearing a three-piece suit. Do you think I'm going to get that job in a t-shirt and flops? I'm not. And why not? Because I didn't show full respect for what was going on and what I was doing and who I was interviewing with. It was disrespectful for the people whose time I was taking up. While I could have an excellent interview in either set of clothes, what people is going to remember the most is what I didn't take seriously. And while I may have answered all these questions correctly and absolutely nailed this interview, if I show up with a gigantic nonverbal sign that says I'm not taking this seriously, they can also extrapolate that I'm not going to be a serious lawyer. Is this judging a book by its cover? Yes, it is. But let me tell you something as a best-selling author. I spend a lot of time and money on the cover of my books. Your cover in the book industry will set you apart from getting more pickups off the shelf and more clicks online than anything else. That's because humans are visual. The best advice that I got for making the cover of my first book, which is Home Security, The Secure Dad's Guide, somebody said to me, the cover needs to convey how you want people to feel when they see your book. What do you want people to know about your book and what they are going to feel like after they've read it? And that changed my perspective on the cover of that book. The cover of my first book is a man with his arms folded, looking confident, looking like a protector. I want you to feel like a confident protector because you have the knowledge to do so after reading my book on home security. In this same way, our chosen clothing communicates how we want people to feel about us. So let's bring this back around to what our clothing says about us. I'll give you an example from my own life. When I was a kid, way back in the 1980s, I liked to wear what we in my family called picture shirts. And these were shirts that had characters on them, like He-Man and Mickey Mouse and all that sort of stuff. Now, my mom had a rule that I could wear a picture shirt on one day and then a plain shirt on the next day. To this day, I will wear shirts with pictures on them just like I did when I was a kid, but I'm very choosy about the shirts that I wear. For example, I'm wearing a t-shirt with a logo for the Nashville Predators hockey team on it. Living in the South where I do, hockey isn't that popular as it is in other parts of the country. So if you even know what this logo is, you're most likely to engage with me on the topic of hockey and the playoffs this year. And I'm not talking about it. We're not talking about the playoffs this year. But I'm telling you, by wearing this shirt, that I'm okay in talking about this topic. This is something I'm okay with you knowing. Now, this is also called iconography, meaning that this picture, the logo that is on my shirt, is important to me. It's so important that I'm going to wear it on a shirt and broadcast that to everyone. That's important to know about the clothing of other people. Now, this can go two ways, and I'll go a little bit further here into my own wardrobe. I'll admit, over the past 2 years, I've indulged in some nostalgia, and I bought myself a Masters of the Universe t-shirt, and then I got another one as a Christmas present. So yes, I have 2 He-Man shirts as a grown man. I enjoy wearing these shirts because it makes me think about the show that I loved when I was a kid, and when I wear one in public, I get smiles from other people my age. Sometimes I have conversations with people about what they liked with the show, and it's a way for me to connect with them, and that's really nice. Now, the downside of that is that when people look at me, they see a guy who's wearing a t-shirt with a cartoon on it. An aggressor might look at me wearing that shirt and say, "That dude's a pushover. I bet you I could take him pretty easy." What my shirt says to me is one thing. What it says to someone else is another. So it cuts both ways, and you have to be cognizant of that. So I want to wrap the show up with an odd story. When I was in college, I had a class with one of the head cheerleaders at our university. Even for a large university, she was still very popular. She knew what looked good on her, and she dressed to that standard every day. She spent a lot of time at the gym and working as a cheerleader, and she wore clothes that showed off her body. Her makeup was perfect. Her hair was perfect. She looked like she was ready for a photo shoot every day. And now that I'm thinking about that as an adult, that must have been a really heavy burden for her to have to do that every day. One day she comes to class wearing a 3/4 length shirt, and on the shirt, in pink rhinestone studs, are the words "sex doll." I'm not making this up. She wore this shirt. And I hate to say it's really the only memory that I have of her. This might have been a fashion or a brand at the time that I wasn't aware of then and I'm not aware of now, but that still means something in context. Now, again, this is way before I knew anything about chosen clothing, but even then I knew that this was odd, and honestly, I felt really sorry for her. What was this shirt broadcasting to everybody around her? No, really. What vibe was she sending? In this case, do you think that she was going to attract healthy attention? Were the right people going to approach her? What drove her to buy this shirt? Or was the shirt a gift? If so, that kind of speaks to a potentially unhealthy relationship. Was the shirt a cry for help? Was she trying to let people know that she was involved in an unhealthy relationship? Was she being abused? Did she really see herself as just a sex doll? While I will never know, the overwhelming feeling here is that this was not positive for her. She was communicating at some level that things weren't right. People who knew her should have gotten involved. Maybe they did. Again, I'll never know. At some point as a parent, you're not going to buy all of your kids' clothes anymore. The day is going to come where you don't pick out all of their outfits for them. So when that day comes, they need to know that what they wear says something about them. Help them to make good decisions to see beyond what an outfit may say, what a shirt may say, to what it really means. We owe this to our kids as protector parents. Now, after all of this, you might say, "Hey, Andy, what if I just put on clothes to run out the door to go to the grocery store?" Well, that's still a form of chosen clothing, and I'll challenge you. What does that say about you in that moment in time? And I think you know the answer. What you wear says a lot about your intent and how you want to be treated. So now that you know this information, you can better dress yourself for the occasion. You can now ask better questions about others and determine what their intentions are behind their outfit. Be curious about what you see people wearing around you. And just because a person wears one outfit doesn't mean that you can infer everything about them. Much more investigating is needed for that, but the clothing someone chooses to wear may provide that string to pull to better understand who they really are. That's all that we have for the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you, friend, for being a part of the show. Your voice matters to me. So if you would take a few minutes to fill out my quick survey about the Secure Dad, you can find the link in today's show notes. Get your Protect Your Parent gear today at thesecuredad.com and click on the Store tab to see designs for moms, dads, and kids. I'm Andy Murphy, and until next time, take care and be secure.